Hey guys, so I just had a launch in my business of 2 new website templates that are actually a completely new type of product for me. And today we are doing a launch recap episode, which I found you guys really love these and want more of them. So spoiler alert about this launch before we get into the episode, it was my biggest launch yet in the business. And I'm so proud of it. It was so fun. It was exciting. It was restful, as you see in the title. And it was during the COVID-19 global pandemic, which I'll touch on that a little bit during this episode. So I'm taking you behind the scenes of what it was like launching a new kind of product and running a sale and all of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about what worked, what didn't work, what I just totally didn't enjoy, and what I would do differently next time. So a cool thing about this launch is that we sold templates to women in 9 different countries all over the world and in over half of the states in the US. So it was really cool kind of calculating how wide reaching this was. So I'll go back and forth in this episode sharing what worked and what I'd like to improve on. And I'm hoping that from this, you'll be able to glean some great things for your own business, whether you're launching something new or not. There should be some great takeaways here. So let's dive into recapping my biggest launch yet. Hey guys, it's Elizabeth McCravey, and you're listening to the Breakthrough Brand Podcast. Each week, I'll bring you workshop-style trainings that teach you how to stand out online, design success from the inside out, and create a breakthrough business. It's time to turn viewers into raving fans and design the business and life of your dreams. I'm so excited you're here. All right, guys, are you ready for the launch recap? So I'm Elizabeth McCravey, your host of this podcast. And before I tell all the details of this launch, a quick what do I do if you're like, wait, who is this chick? What is she talking about selling? I sell website templates built for the Showit platform. So that's what I was launching is 2 new templates to the shop. And these were a new type of template, sales funnel kits is what they're called. If you're listening to this live, you probably got emails from me or you heard podcast episodes about it. I've been sharing about this a lot during the launch itself. And it was a new kind of product, which new kinds of products that can be like, wait, is this going to work? Is it not? And it did work. I sell website templates. There are a lot of them in my shop all the time. So this is a evergreen product, which I'll talk about some in this episode. But I did do a cart open, cart close model by using bonuses. So during the launch, the sales funnel kits had bonuses that you could get with them when you bought during the week. And then I also did a sale on all my templates during the launch week, which was the biggest sale I had done. I don't do sales often. I don't believe in discounting things all the time by any means. So that's how I defined my cart open, cart close period. But a cool thing with the nature of an evergreen product and the kind of business I have, the templates are always for sale. So if you're like, oh, this sounds great, you can go buy one right now. But I still believe in following the cart open, cart close model as much as possible, even with evergreen products. I think I've found a lot of success from doing that. And I believe that even with an evergreen product, you can make a time-sensitive offer that makes it feel like a traditional launch does on something that actually is completely time-sensitive. So that's just a little background. It's Sales Funnel Kits, which is a name I came up with, but it's a type of template created to be a sales funnel for your business, to sell something like an online course, a group program, or even a service. I ended up, interestingly, finding a lot of people bought these templates for their services, but this can be added on to your already existing website or used as its own website. And it's 7 pages, I want to say, and for blanking already, 7 or 8 pages of just awesome content to use around a sales funnel. And it also comes with 2 courses, the Showit Blueprint course, which is my signature course that teaches you how to use Showit. And you also get the Compelling Copy Blueprint, which teaches you how to write sales copy for this template. So that's just a quick summary of what it is so that we're all on the same page here. So now I want to get into the what worked and what didn't. So I have 10 different points I'm talking through, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth between what worked and what didn't. I honestly don't even know how many are what worked versus what didn't. I think I have more of what worked though. So the number one thing we're starting with is what worked. So what worked? the profits and the money making side of all of it. So like I said in the intro, this was my biggest launch yet in my business. And in launches, I like to set, and you might have heard me talk about this on the podcast before, good, better, best goals. So that's my goal setting method. And what that means in my mind is that good is the bare minimum that I feel good about it earning. So like just like the bare minimum number that's like, okay, we want to get past that. Better is like the actual goal of like, this is pushing, but like still achievable. And best is the stretch goal. And so the whole time I typically in a launch, I'm like working towards technically the best goal, but with the better goal as like the mental number. And actually right before I launched these, I changed my numbers like up to all three of them, like pretty significantly. Cause I was like, I think I'm shooting too low. I was basically shooting to do worse than I had in my last launch. And the reason I did that was because I was thinking we are in a global pandemic and I was not even sure if I should be launching. I had a lot of hesitations, like the month leading up to this, which I could talk about later, but that's not really the focus of this episode. But I was like, I can't expect it to make as much. And this is a lower cost offering than my regular templates. And it's a new offering. So I was thinking I need to go lower. And then I ended up changing the goal to where it was the best goal was what I hit in my last launch. Okay. So we went somewhat significantly past that, like beat out the last launch, which made me think, oh my gosh, I should have done an even higher goal, but I was really happy with where we ended up landing. I did some counting. I said this in the intro already a little bit, but where everyone was from. I know I don't normally do that. And I kind of just noticed throughout the week of like, wow, there are a lot of people in other countries buying this, which my templates have always been bought by people all over the place. But during a launch week, that was really interesting. And a funny thing, because of time zones, when it was someone in another country buying, typically I woke up to a sale that happened at like 3 a.m. my time or something like that. So we ended up selling to women in 9 total countries. And it was about half the US states. I want to say it was like 26 different states or 27, something like that. I calculated everything before the launch actually ended. So that just felt incredible to see. And like I said, I didn't add those kind of things up from any past launches. So I don't have a comparison. But I thought that was really fun to be reaching people all over the world, seriously. So also due, though, to the nature of my business, like I already said a little bit, my products are evergreen. And what that means, if you're not familiar with that term, is that an evergreen product is always available to be purchased. So when I launch, I like to do a cart open, cart close vibe with things, with bonuses and like heavy promoting. But in reality, people can buy whenever. But they're always, when I do a launch, there always is something that actually is expiring because I want to be in integrity. So I'm not like making up something and pretending like it's going away. But if you're thinking, oh no, I missed the launch, you actually did miss the launch, but not the products. The products are still there. And so a cool thing about evergreen products and doing a launch like this is that the launch number I'm talking about, what it was for that particular week, like the 5 days of the launch. But you guys, the week following, sales just keep happening. And literally just within the couple of days after the launch ended, we had like 8 additional sales come in. So it's like, it just is always going to be able to be earning money. So just a note too on that, I could do a whole podcast around this kind of stuff, but I'm very pro evergreen products, which is what mine are. And I'm also very pro time sensitive products, which are the ones where there truly is a cart open, cart close. Like you're not going to be able to buy this until, let's say, 6 months from now or whatever it is with the product. So I really like both of those kinds of offers. So I think both are amazing. And right now, the only kind of offer I have is evergreen products. And I know, though, I have a lot of business ideas for this year and upcoming years. And I know long term, I'll end up having time sensitive products too that actually do just like go away for certain periods of time. And those launches feel different. Those are going to feel more stressful than what I'm describing because, like I said, I was able to close the cart on the sale and bonuses, but then keep making money. But then with cart open, cart close, you have to wait again until you're going to launch to be able to earn money on the product again. So that I totally get would feel a lot scarier launching during COVID-19 with that kind of product. So anyway, just a little thing there. But yeah, that's the first one I would say. It's just generally speaking, what worked is that like it was far reaching and I hit way past my stretch goal, which makes me be like, I need to set even higher next time for a launch. All right, another thing that worked, I'm going to be starting with 3 things that worked, and I'm going to move into some that didn't. So another work thing, it was really inexpensive, so it was a high profit margin launch, which my launches are always going to be higher profit margin than some people because I'm not spending a ton of money on ads or anything like that. But this was like a really inexpensive launch compared to other launches. So in my last launch, which happened last year in the fall, I did a bonus that was a physical gift I mailed out. And with that one, the first 20 people to buy a template got it. That's how I did the thing, is like first 20 people. It was either first 20 people or first day. I can't remember actually, but I think it was first 20 people. And I loved doing that bonus, and I got really great feedback from customers on it. It was really fun. Gift giving is totally my love language. So it's like, for me, like literally putting together this like box of goodies for customers that included like business strategy stuff was so fun for me. However, it was also a very expensive thing to do and also really time consuming. So doing those, I tried to calculate it. This number is going to be a little off, but it was about $30 to $40 a customer to do that. Plus a lot of time with me running to like the post office and shipping it. If some people who were out of the country, because again, I had out of the country people last time too, the shipping was crazy on it. So anyway, it was a lot of time, and expensive compared to what I did this time. So I love that bonus, and I'll definitely do something like it again. I think there's something really spectacular about mailing people stuff that for me, like totally gets me as a bonus too. And you can do a lot of value and personal touch and customer service by doing that. But with coronavirus, I did not think shipping people stuff was the right move right now. And I'm trying to stay at home as much as possible. So I made all the bonuses this time digital. And I knew that would be my plan from the get-go. Like when I was preparing for this launch, like months in advance, I was like, I'm probably not going to do a physical bonus this time. So I had that as the plan. And because of that, the only cost of the bonuses was literally my time spent making them. That's a fun thing about digital bonuses. So that was a different thing, is like the bonuses were not more costly. And another thing that made it less expensive, I also did not spend any money on ads. I spent about $120. I'm going to talk about this a little later. But that helped the cost be lower. And I do not consider that like a good thing or a bad thing necessarily. Again, I'll talk about that towards the end of this episode, but a lot of businesses, when you hear about their launches and they share like a revenue number, it can often be like the revenue was crazy high, but then they spent so much money acquiring that money on Facebook ads or through joint affiliate partners or through expensive bonuses or time related bonuses where you're spending a ton of time with the people for the bonus. So there's just a lot of things that can bring down the profits of a launch. And those are just a couple examples of some, but I'm very aware of those. And so like, I like to try to keep costs low and value really high. And I'm really proud that this launch, I feel like did that well. So let's move on to the third one. So a third thing that worked, people bought so quickly. You guys, it was just crazy to watch. People purchase the new product in particular. And also like another thing I should point out here, a lot of my sales were on my regular full site templates too, not just the sales funnel kits. So both of those were being purchased during this launch. But seriously, I bring the site live, I email my list and tell them you can shop now. And then I post it on social media like 30 to 45 minutes after I'd sent the email. So seriously, within sending the email, like 4 different people bought within the first couple of minutes. And so that means they looked over the sales page like really fast. Like seriously, 2 of them were in like the first 5 minutes. And those were people who told me the night before that like they think they're going to buy, and they're like had set an alarm. One of them had. So yeah, that was really cool. But they looked over the sales page and were able to quickly know they wanted it, or they didn't even need the sales page to know they wanted it, which is really cool to watch with it being a new product. Because you guys, if you have ever launched a new product, which everyone does at some point, but it can be really scary right before thinking like, wait, I thought people wanted this. Do people want this? And not being sure about that. If you've listened to my episode about a flopped launch, I will link to that in the show notes if you're like, that sounds interesting. I was talking about the first time I ever ever launched a product and it was a total flop because no one wanted it. And I did not ask that question enough. So it was really cool in this one though, with it being a new type of template to realize, okay, people really want this. And it really was like a no-brainer offer, which that is so what I believe in marketing, is making it cost whatever it's going to cost, but make it have so much value that it should feel like a no-brainer, like that it should be costing so much more than what it is, like offering just an unexpected amount of value. So that's what I like to do with all my templates. And these new ones really, really had that down pat, I think. So that was really cool. I also pre-sold the new templates. So there are 2 new templates. Sarah and Josephine are the names of the templates. And I pre-sold one of each style to 2 incredible women. And a funny thing about that, you can totally adopt this in your own business, but I have a tradition with my template launches that I always pre-sell something before it's been publicly released. And it's a funny tradition. I've literally done it every launch, including the first time I ever launched my templates. And it always feels like such a good sign. In the pre-sale, like it always starts with someone, like me pre-selling a template, it always starts with someone seeing me talk about it on social media. And then they're like, hey, can I see it? Hey, can I buy early? And the cool thing is every time someone has bought early, for the most part, they haven't seen the sales page. They've only seen what I say about it and the product itself, of like getting to see the template. One time someone actually didn't even get to see the template. They only got to see 2 pages of it and they still bought. So obviously I'm all about great sales pages. That is very much what the sales funnel kits are all about. And the sales page for the sales funnel kits is amazing, I personally think. And I'm really obsessed with the copywriting on that page. So if you never read the page for the sales funnel kits, go to elizabethmccravy.com/funnel and just read the copy on the page. I put a lot of work into it and I really love it. So it's a whole nother level of validation though for your product when people don't need to see the sales page in order to want to buy, even when the sales page is really great, in my personal opinion. So that was just really cool to see. And it's another fun thing that kind of relates to this. I guess it was the day before my launch. We have a Slack channel for Show It Design partners, and someone posted in there something about like my launch and that they're excited for me or something really sweet like that. And then the designer friends in there were all joking that they, from seeing, some of them were on my email list of like seeing me talk about it ahead of time. Because I sent, the night before the launch, I sent an email, or not the night before, I guess just like during the day beforehand, I sent an email where you could literally see, like click to see the whole site. And again, you weren't seeing the sales page, but you got to see the template. Interrupting this episode with a suggestion for the small business owners listening. Ever wonder what you should do for healthcare when you and your spouse are both self-employed, so there's no work-provided health insurance to participate in? Well, when my husband Adam joined me in the entrepreneurial job space over 4 years ago, we joined Christian Healthcare Ministries instead of getting traditional health insurance. And it was the best decision for us, especially in these years of growing and raising a family while also running multiple businesses. CHM is a health cost-sharing ministry and is a faith-based alternative to health insurance. We did tons of research before choosing CHM, and if you know me and Adam, you know we are all about doing the math when making big or small financial decisions. And even though it's not insurance, CHM shares 100% of eligible medical bills, which is more than the typical 70 or 80% of medical bills paid for by insurance companies. All sharing is determined by the CHM guidelines, which you can check out before and after joining. And for the mamas and mamas to be listening, you truly cannot find a better healthcare option for maternity care. I had a vaginal delivery and a C-section and birth center care and hospital care between my 2 pregnancies and births, and it was all 100% shared for. And outside of birth, we've had our share of emergency room visits and procedures as a family, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. CHM is less expensive month to month than insurance, and because there's no network, you can choose your care with whichever providers best fit your family. I seriously just cannot recommend Christian Healthcare Ministries enough. You've got to check them out. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/CHM for more information. Also putting that link in the show notes, elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to the episode. And they were all joking that they wanted to buy it. And they're like, without seeing the sales page, like, I just want to buy it for me. And I've heard you talk about it and it sounds amazing. And it was just so kind. They really pumped me up for the launch with like the sweetest messages in that Slack channel. So thank you to you guys for all your kindness. But they were calling it, one of them said like proof of concept, that like they wanted to buy it without knowing all the information, but just like the gist of it. And that it felt like a really great product, but they don't need to know everything in order to want to buy it. And some of them actually did buy it, which is really cool. So anyway, that was just fun of like seeing people buy quickly, seeing people be so like excited by the value of it all. I even had a sweet friend who also has a regular website template from me, a full site. She bought the sales funnel kit, and after she was diving into the Compelling Copy Blueprint, which is the course on sales copy you get with your purchase, she was saying like, Elizabeth, you like 1,000,000% need to offer this as its own product. And like you could sell it for the same price or higher as you are with the template. So it's just a lot of nice validation from people of like that it's a good thing. So, okay, now let's move in. I just shared 3 things that worked well. Now I'm going to share 2 things in a row that did not work well. So something I would do differently. This isn't something horrible, but more just like I would change it. So having a cart open bonus. So this was the first launch where I had not done that. And basically a cart open bonus, if you're like, what are you talking about? That's like a promotion that someone gets when they buy on day 1 or a specific number of first people to buy, and they get something special for being fast action takers. So typically when I've done in the past, it's been that it's a special bonus that expires on the first day, or a special offer. I've even done it before where it's like it is an upsell that's really discounted, but that it's going to expire or go back to regular pricing or something. So I think it's really nice just to have that stronger incentive. And I don't have a specific reason for why I didn't do this. I just didn't. I don't really, again, I don't remember my mental state with it. But on launch day, I had that thought of I wish I had a cart open bonus today. And like I already said in the last point, people still bought really quickly without there being a cart open bonus. But I think that's a great way to call even more people to action immediately. And so I think that would have been really nice to give those people even a stronger incentive to buy, or to give people who waited till the last day or who didn't buy at all during the launch an incentive that might be greater than some of the other bonuses on that first day. So that is definitely something I'll be adding in next time during a launch, is a cart open bonus. All right, let's move on to number 5. So another thing that did not work for me, and this is more of a personal, I just didn't like it. So I made my cart close on a Saturday, and normally I would do a Friday. And so here's the reason. I had to close on a Saturday because originally I was going to be speaking at a mastermind retreat in Florida right up until the launch. So I'd picked my launch week because it was fitting really well between 2 trips that were supposed to happen, but also giving me enough time to prepare in advance for everything we need to do for the launch. So with the date I had chosen, I was supposed to be flying home on the Monday before the launch. And I was actually, the flight I was looking at, I ended up not even booking it because then everything happened and everything got canceled. But I was not going to be getting home until 6 p.m. the night before my launch. So it made the most sense to launch on a Tuesday morning. And that actually even felt exhausting to me. And looking back on it, I'm that would have felt so crazy to have been gone on a really fun but still working business trip for 4 to 5 days. And then immediately the next morning, when you haven't even unpacked or bought groceries or settled into your life at all, having to go into launch mode and sending emails and customer support and Instagram lives and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm really sad that trip didn't happen, but also know that would have made the week a lot more stressful. So that was the plan though, all along, was Tuesday to Saturday, because I wanted it to be 5 days, but I couldn't start on a Monday. So even when the trip got canceled, I was I'm not changing it, because I'd already recorded a podcast that said this date. And I'd also already made social media graphics that said the date. And I'm not the kind of person that wants to re-record a podcast episode over that kind of thing, or go in and edit every time I say a date. So I was whatever, I'm leaving it. That meant though that my cart closed, which means the sale ended and the bonuses expired on a Saturday. And all the days run together right now anyway, in my personal life. It's so funny. literally today's a Friday that I'm recording this for you guys. And I literally feel like it's Saturday. Like in my soul, I'm like, is today not Saturday? I'm so confused. I told my husband when we woke up this morning, we slept in way too late. And I was like, I think it's Saturday, but it's not, it's Friday. So anyway, the days are running together anyway. So I kind of was like, well, it'll be fine. But in like the operating of the business, it felt like I had 2 cart closes because Friday being the end of the workday felt like, okay, like I'm closing, I'm about to go into the weekend, everything's ending. But then, people kept buying on Saturday and I wasn't really working on Saturday. Like I did send one more email on Saturday, but only to a very small number of people. I sent it, a little email tip here. I sent it to only people who had clicked links that led to the new templates on some of the emails I had already sent. So I just didn't want to keep bothering my whole list about it, especially on a Saturday. And it was like right before Easter. So I didn't send it to as many people, but it just felt weird. I just prefer Monday through Friday for launches. So fast tip. I like Mondays through Fridays. That's a good place to start trying for your first launch. And I also never want to do more than 5 days for a launch because it does get like to the point where it's like people get it, like people do not need that much time to make a decision. So I think like 5 to 7 days is definitely enough. And I even think 4 is long enough for me. Like I might do a launch soon that's like 4 days. And on the same note though, of like not loving the cart close on Saturday, since I'm someone who does not do well with procrastinating. Okay. So like first thing there, I don't procrastinate. But since I was planning on being on that work trip, like for the months leading up to the launch, I saw the day before I left for that beach trip to be the deadline for when everything had to be done. So like we were operating off of that deadline, which ended up meaning I had everything done like a week early. And it was kind of weird because I was like, am I forgetting stuff? And then there's some things like I don't want to have early. I want to like do during the week of, which I'll talk about that a little in a minute, but like the big things were all done for the most part. And so it was just kind of weird, like this, like feeling like, oh, am I forgetting something and being so prepared? And then I literally at one point was like, I just want to release them already and just launch it. Which I think is why I pre-sold so many things, is because I was like, everything's ready, like might as well. So anyway, that was kind of a pro of it all, is that I got to work ahead well. But yeah, for me, with a business type product, it's totally different if it's like, something more lifestyle based, but closing the cart on a Saturday right before Easter, I did not love. All right, number 6, another thing that worked well, recurring customers. So at the time I calculated this, it actually might have changed a little because a couple more sales came in from when I got this number, but 22% of my sales were from past customers. And you guys, the crazy thing about this, it makes me like laugh thinking about it. I almost didn't even email past customers about this launch. Basically, like on day 1, I sent that email out on launch day, and I had not emailed any of the past customers yet, but one of them bought. And I do major segmenting in my email marketing, which I highly recommend doing when you're selling products, is like I filter out past customers when I do these launch emails. So basically, if you've bought from me, or if I've done a custom website design from you, when I'm launching something like this, you will not get an email from me about it. So because that's how I don't want to bug people who've already bought, was kind of my mindset there. So I had segmented all those people out so they were not getting the emails. And then after one gal bought, I had the thought like, wait, I should email them and just tell them about this in case it would be helpful to their business with their current websites. Because like the sales funnel kit, you guys, is something you can add to your current site, whether you bought it from me or if you bought it from some other designer. It's a new type of website design template. So I was like, okay, I'm going to email them. So I wrote an email that was like specifically to my past customers, and 5 more bought immediately after sending that email. And then even more the rest of the launch. So 5 like past customers when I say that. And so it was just funny to me because I was like, of course this would be interesting to them too. Like they've had a good experience with their website template already. And a cool thing is like, I feel like this is growing with so many of their businesses because they have, started with services when they got their website up and done an amazing job with that. And now many of them are launching online courses. So it's like, hey, I actually have been needing this. Like I literally had someone tell me, I was wondering if you had something like this, but couldn't find it. And it's like, oh, like now I do. So anyway, it's just funny to me that I didn't think of that. So something to think about in your own business if you have any similarities to mine in that way. I was just really pleased with the excitement there. And one of my past customers, Dawn, she bought so fast when I sent that email, like again, within minutes. So I sent the email, to the past customers. And then she emailed me back and said, Elizabeth, OMG, this offer is to die for, purchase complete. And again, it was just like, they were all so excited about it. And so a couple more of the emails the rest of the week, I did include past customers on it, but still not all of them. But I tried to make sure like, hey, that you're aware of this. And so it's fun now. At this point in my business, I've had a lot of people who have bought 2 templates from me thanks to the sales funnel kits. And even before then, I had some people who had because of different types of businesses. And now with these, I have a few people who have bought 3 templates from me, all for different types of businesses. So there were some people literally during this launch that bought 3 templates, like a sales funnel kit and 2 regular templates. So it's just really fun to see like people coming back. Yeah, so that's number 7. What worked? Having customers return. Okay, now let's tell something that didn't work. So this one feels hilarious to me. Some of you may have watched it, but I did an Instagram Live on launch day. And in my personal opinion, it was not very good. Like it was the worst live I've ever done. And I say that seriously, like I really do think that, but I'm also totally fine with that. I don't need it to be perfect, but I left it up anyway for 24 hours. You know how after you do a live, you can choose to like make it go away or leave it up. So even though I thought it sucked, I still left it up for 24 hours. But here's why it felt bad. It still, again, feels funny to me. I'm so used to podcasting, but going live feels so different than that. So I felt really unprepared. Like I did not have any notes really. And with podcasts, I always have a pretty like decent outline that I still will like go off script from, but something to guide me on like what I'm about to be talking about. And another thing, I have a standing desk that I don't use for standing as much as I should, but I had the bright idea, like I've been sitting all day, I should stand during this live. Like that'll be good energy, like standing, and it'll wake me up. I've been sitting all day. But because I was standing, I had my phone on my like phone tripod. And every time I touched my desk at all, it would like shake, like the phone would shake, which made the stuff shaky. And then standing while talking alone in a room just felt off. It felt different than speaking at an event. It felt different than sitting right now at my desk podcasting. And it just wasn't that well attended. Like, I don't know if it was the time of day I did it at, or if it's because so many companies are going live right now on Instagram that it's like there's a lot of people live at once. Like I remember noticing that whenever I went live of like, like all these other people are also live right now. So it just felt weird to me. And again, it feels laughable, but also worth mentioning. And this is so weird, but I kept getting out of breath while I was standing up talking, which again, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. So like, I don't know why that was happening. It could have been because I was nervous or like because I kept shaking my desk, but it was just a weird live. And it's worth mentioning that it wasn't great, which is totally fine. And I wish I would have been more prepared. And I had not done an Instagram Live since September of last year. So like, I need to do them more frequently. But that live, I think I did 2 during launch week in my last launch. And that live went really well and was very like well attended, a lot of conversation happening in the chat. And it was really fun. And so I think I had those kinds of expectations, but then like was not that prepared and was out of breath, standing up, shaking my desk. So anyway, even though it didn't work though, I'm still glad I did it. I'm still glad I left it up. And that's just, I hope this can be an encouragement to you in some way if you're worried about your Instagram Live being bad, that it's not the end of the world. And that is literally not what makes your sales. Like my sale did awesome and my Instagram Live sucked. So now let's talk about another thing that worked. So what worked? I had a lot of fun with my email marketing. And for me during launches, emails are like the essential piece of a launch more than social media posts. Like I know during normal life, I post a lot more on social media than I do send emails to my list. But for launches, I really just love the email marketing strategy side of things. So typically for every launch, I will map out first what the email topic is for every day of the launch of like, what do I want like this email to generally be about and which days I want the emails to go out on. And then I go back and I write the emails based on the topic. So I might have a topic of like, this one is about the compelling copy blueprint. This one's about how the sale's ending soon, whatever it is. And I usually like to write most of the emails in advance and get them put up in ConvertKit in advance. But then I like to write some of them live during the launch, or at least add some extra pieces of it during the launch week. So like, for example, that could be like screenshots of customer feedback that I'm adding in, like from people who've just bought, like, hey, here's what people are saying about it, to the emails. So I really like writing emails. And again, I think that's like the biggest thing for me during launches. And so this time I had a lot of fun with it. I experimented. I did some new things. And one hilarious thing I think worth mentioning is that I sent out an email that had the subject line, add subject line, in all caps. Like that's literally what it said. Was like when someone gets in their inbox, it said add subject line. And that email ended up with a 40% open rate, which felt really good for me. And it was a lot higher than other emails during the launch. And so that was funny. And it also got a lot of clicks and engagement and responses. And people freaked out because they thought, because obviously that's what it looks like and was meant to look like, that I had hit send or scheduled an email, but forgot to add the subject line. So we had put like add subject line to add later. So it was funny too. My sister, my sweet sister, who's on my mailing list, texted me immediately a screenshot of it and was like, Liz, ! You screwed up your email. And then I was like, no, it's on purpose. Scroll to the bottom, because I made a note at the bottom about how it was intentional. But I had a couple friends very kindly point that out to me before they read the bottom. So I wrote the content in that email the morning I sent it. So it was not when I had prepped in the advance. I just had the idea for like the content, and I knew the whole launch. Like literally, guys, I've known for like a year at some point. I'm like, I want to do an email that has the subject line, add subject line during a launch, because, and guys, this is a great marketing thing of like, watch other people completely outside of your industry for random inspiration. But there is someone who is a business coach who I'm on their email list, and they were having a launch, and I'm not really their ideal customer. So like their whole launch, I was just like deleting and archiving their emails. And then they sent one that said add subject line. And I was like, OMG, like that's crazy. And I opened it, and theirs, I think, was actually just a mistake. Like that they didn't, like someone on the team like made it go out before it was supposed to. But whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, like it made me open. I got to see this offer that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And I did read the email, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that at some point. So there are always so many random things you can get inspiration from, including other people's email mistakes. So yeah, I really liked this email. And at the very end of it, I say, P.S. that subject line that looks like a mistake was intentional. You opened it, right? I believe marketing is all about experimenting. Making something hard doesn't make it successful. So choose ease and fun. That's my approach, and I hope you'll join me. Now go watch the video, and it links to the video. So this email, the focus of it was how a great product isn't going to sell itself, and you have to know how to talk about it in a compelling way. And then it's a video tour of the compelling copy blueprint that comes with the course. So, and it's a video tour I had literally recorded that particular day. Let me see what the link to that is. If you go to elizabethmccravy.com/compelling-copy-blueprint, you can find it. I'll link to that in the show notes too, in case you want to watch the video. But yeah, that was just really fun. Email marketing in general. I love it. I love writing emails, and I feel like that went really well during this launch. Okay, I have 2 things left. So number 9, something I would do differently. I really have like hardly anything to say about this one, but I did not really run ads, and this one's simple. The reason I didn't is because I never got around to setting it myself. I'm not that confident in running ads. I used to run ads when I did marketing for companies and did well at it, but there's something about doing it for your own business. So I probably spent about $120 on ads the whole launch. And when there's some places that always have ads running, like Pinterest and Google, but I spent like $50 on Facebook ads, and I'm pro ads. I believe they're very powerful and would probably really help my launch next time. So that's something I would like to do differently, is just straight up like run some Facebook and Instagram ads. And I think that could have brought the numbers up even more. Okay, so the last thing, something that worked, number 10, it was really restful. So this was the most chill launch I've ever had. And I think part of that is that the more launches I do, the more comfortable I become. And that's so true for you too. Like you get better at the things that feel hard in your business over time. And like the first time I launched my templates, it was so like stressful feeling. And like, I did not know what expectations to have. I think I did an Instagram live then too, and was like really nervous. You just get better at stuff over time, but it was really restful. Like, that's the best way for me to describe it. And basically, like, all the big important things were done in advance. So during the launch week, I only worked 35 hours on the clock. There probably was more than that, just on like me responding to someone on my phone or something. But on my clock where I like track my time, that's how much I worked. So it wasn't anything crazy. And I've had launches where I'm like working like insane overtime during it. And due to coronavirus, I had a lot of time at home during this launch, which typically during a launch, I always have a lot of time at home because I kind of clear my schedule. Typically, that's actually advice I would give to you, is like during a launch week, try to not schedule anything like, no appointments, like nothing stressful socially or like a lot of social gatherings or anything like that. So typically I try not to have like obligations on the calendar. But this time I actually did have multiple hangouts during launch week that were all on Zoom. So it felt different. It felt like it wasn't really as much of like a obligation because I was just staying at home with all my launch stuff and computer anyway. So during the launch week, I had a hangout with college girlfriends. We had a Zoom hangout one night for like 2 hours. And then I helped run a Zoom trivia club for Young Life. And then I had a meeting with our little Nashville Entrepreneurs Club thing on Zoom. And then I had 2 calls with some stuff I'm working on the company with different people. So it's just, I had a lot of meetings, and that was weird too. I was like, wait, why am I having so many meetings? But they didn't really feel like draining to me, which felt good. But in past launches, I have typically tried not to have like any social stuff at night or during the day. And I think it's really different when you're not leaving the house for them. It just feels different in that way. But yeah, it felt restful. Like, again, I just didn't have that much to do. I spent a lot of time chatting with you guys on email and on the website chat box. And then I also did phone calls with people. So I spent some time on that. And then I only did 1 Instagram live. I would have liked to have done 2. But like I said, after that first one, when I felt like it did not go well, I was just like, whatever, I'm only doing 1. So yeah, it was just really chill. I don't know how else to say it, but it was chill and peaceful, and a lot of at home time during the whole thing, which makes sense with us all being sheltered at home right now. So it was a really great launch. That's it, you guys. That's all I really have, is I just talked through those 10 things, and I could keep sharing more. But those are the like big ones that came to my mind when I was thinking about this. And I'm recording this like really close to after the launch. I know you guys will hear it a little later, but know that this is like me thinking fresh about all of this. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I hope that it will encourage you in your business and that you can glean something from this for your future launches. And yeah, let me know on social media any big takeaways you had from this. I'd love for you to share it on your stories and tag me. If you have a fellow business friend who would enjoy this podcast, seriously, please share it with them. You can like click the little icon in Apple Podcasts and send it to someone on text messages. I love doing that personally. And I want to read you guys a quote to close out. And now I'm not finding my quote, so give me a moment. So I'm currently reading the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is a lot different than you might think it is from the title, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not that far into it, but it's a pretty old book and really, really full of a lot of great stuff. So a quote from it that I highlighted the other day when reading, I think I actually read this during my launch week. So he says, "A great many years ago, I purchased a fine dictionary. The first thing I did with it was to turn to the word impossible and neatly clip it out of the book. That would not be an unwise thing for you to do too. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious." I thought that was really powerful, of just thinking about like taking the word impossible out of your personal dictionary. He is talking about a physical dictionary, which I do not think we own anymore, but that concept of like, success comes to those who become success conscious. You guys, I've been talking so long right now. And then failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. So thinking about with your next launch, how can you become more success conscious in your planning, in your preparation, in your mindset, all of that. I'm going to have some more podcasts coming soon on like more mindset stuff around launches and like things I do personally during launches to keep sane and some stuff like that. So also stay tuned for those. But yeah, thank you for listening, guys. I hope this was helpful. I can't wait to hear what insights you've had, and I'll be back next week with another episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to the podcast this week, friend. I appreciate you being here. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, I want to tell you about something. I would encourage you to check out my website template shop. Over on ElizabethMcCravey.com, you'll find Show It website templates, and they are easy to use, strategically designed, and created to help you book more clients and customers. Maybe your current website is really boring. I don't know, maybe it is, and maybe you don't want to hurt its feelings, but you know it's true. And your website needs to be strategically and intentionally designed in order for it to convert your viewers into raving customers. And that's what these website templates do on MShop. These are pre-made website templates built for the Show It platform where you can plug and play your content into the template with ease and then get started with a website that is made to actually make you money. Isn't that what we all want, right? So go shop the templates at ElizabethMcCravey.com/shop. That link is also in the show notes. And don't forget that you can actually subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening so that you never miss an episode. And I would so appreciate it if you left a rating and review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or even just share it with a friend. It's a great way to support the show and then give us your feedback. So thanks so much for listening.